Hello, hi, a very happy good afternoon. So this is Krishnaveni and we've been talking about the story of life on earth, and that's biology. So for all those who are new to my session, so I handle the entire biology, so both class 11 and 12, both zoo and botany. So Monday, Wednesday and Friday I teach for class 12, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday I teach for class 11, meaning I teach the respective topics from that chapter. Alright, so here we are having a quick recap of your evolution. So today is Friday, so today it's a class 12 topic. So we are having a quick recap of evolution. So evolution has already been completed once, but it's a quick recap. So let me take you through what are the concepts that we saw. Then we'll also discuss few questions related to the topic that we're going to see. So I won't complete the entire revision today. So the first half of the chapter I will do the revision now. Then we will solve 5 questions so that you understand how questions are asked from this topic. Okay, so then we will talk about the remaining chapter on Monday. All right, yes, so shall we go? So this comes under your unit of genetics, so which is very important, and that backs the maximum weightage in your class 12 syllabus. Okay, so if you see, you have principles of inheritance and molecular basis of inheritance. So that is basically your Mendelian genetics and molecular genetics. So we are done with both the topics. We are done revising them as well. We are done with the quiz also, right? So now we're going to have a quick recap of evolution. So we're going to talk about the theories about convergent and divergent evolution, and we'll talk about the example of your industrial melanism. All right, so this is what we are going to talk about. So with that, we will solve some questions. All right, so are you ready? So shall we go forward? So let me tell you something. Yes, yesterday the Menti was not happening because of some technical issues. So today the Menti has been postponed. So today it will be at 6:30, and we are going to have the Menti at the same time in the same topic. Okay, so today the Menti is there at 6:30. So we are going to talk about your digestion and absorption. All right, so same 15 questions, 30 seconds. So no change, nothing. So make sure you join me. Fine, so please do bring in your friends as well. So it is for 15 questions, 20 seconds each. Yes, Harini, a very happy good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining my session. All right, yes. Priyanka, hi, hello, yes, a very happy good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining my session. Okay, so let's go forward and talk about evolution now. Okay, so what are the topics we were discussing in this chapter, evolution? So do you remember? So do you have guesses at least? I believe so. After I have been teaching evolution, so I don't think people went back to revise evolution ever. Did you? Yes. Hello Amin. Hi. So hello Lokesh sir. So thank you so much for joining my session. A very happy good afternoon. Amin. Hi. Hello. So here. Yes, so Kal Menti was actually your Mentimeter fell sick in the last minute, so isliye, so we had to cancel the Menti. So don't worry. So today we are having the same Menti. It's postponed today. So today at 6:30 we'll play the same game. So 15 questions, 20 seconds each. So please prepare well. The questions are not straightforward, so I can give you this much hint. All right? Yes. Okay, fine. Yes. Okay. So we will talk about your evolution. Yes, so this is a quick recap of the first part of evolution. So we will solve questions as well, which is more important. So what are the topics in this chapter? So first we are going to talk about your origin of life. So where did life originate initially on earth? And evolution of life forms, a theory. So what are the different theories that supports the origin of life on earth, whether it came from your dead decaying matter, whether it came from your organic molecules. So that is what we talk about, your evolution of life forms, a theory. All right, then evidence for life, evolution. So how do you believe me when I said yes, life existed? How do you believe me when I said dinosaurs existed on earth? How do you believe? So I had some evidence to show you. Yes, this is how dinosaurs look. So I had the skull of a dinosaur. Someone showed me a picture of a dinosaur. So you should have evidence, right? So when I say life existed, so what do I have? How do I support my theory? So that is the evidence for evolution. Then adaptive radiation. So what is adaptive radiation, and what adaptive radiation can contribute to the process of evolution? So we'll talk about that. And then biological evolution. So how at the molecular level, at the genetic level, we underwent evolution. So we will talk about that. All right, yes. Then the mechanism of evolution. So how did evolution actually happen? So what were the changes? So what do you understand when I say the term evolution? So for everyone, on a general term, when I say evolution, so this is the picture that comes into your mind, right? Yes, so we came from monkeys, we evolved from gorillas, we evolved from chimpanzees. So then early man came and today we are, right? So this is how it came into picture. So what is this evolution happening? So what are the changes that is happening? So how is that happening? So that is the mechanism of evolution. Alright, so then we'll talk about one of the most important principles, that is Hardy-Weinberg principle. So we say HW principle, and it is very important. So it is a very important topic in your entire population genetics. So we call this chapter as population genetics as well. Yes, so if you see the unit genetics, right? So it has principles of variation, that is your Mendelian genetics. Then you have your molecular basis of inheritance, that is your molecular genetics. And why did evolution have to be in genetics? Yes, because it talks about the evolution of genes over a set of population. So in another word, this chapter is also known as population genetics. And in population genetics, genetics means, of course, it talks about some formulas and theories, right? So Hardy-Weinberg principle is the most important thing. Alright, so hi Anthony Ambi. Yes, a very happy good afternoon. So thank you so much for joining my session. Yes, so mentee is there today. So the mentee that got cancelled yesterday, the same mentee at the same time is there today. So today at 6:30 we will have the mentee. Okay, so we will play for 15 questions, 20 seconds each, from 6:30 to 7. Alright Anthony Ambi. Yes, okay, fine. So that is your Hardy-Weinberg principle. And finally we talk about the evolution of man. How did this happen? So what are the various stages? Okay, so you understand this is a chimpanzee, then what are these type of man? So what is the difference? So how did the process of evolution happen in man? So these are the topics in this chapter that we are going to discuss. So we'll talk about till this and solve questions based on these things. Okay, so we will solve questions based on the evidences for evolution as well. So with that you will know how you have to approach the questions and what type of questions can come from these portions. Yes, yes ma'am, a very happy good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining my session. And guys, let me know, so tomorrow 7 p.m, so Saturday 7 p.m. is a live session. So do you want me to have an open doubt session? Yes. So let's say we have an open doubt session in your genetics. Yes. So can we do something like that? So do you want me to talk on something, or should we have an open doubt session? So any suggestions from your side? So how do you want me to have, or should I discuss some important questions of that sort? So how do you think I should take forward? So how do you want that session to be? So every Saturday we have a live session from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m, right? So tomorrow what do you want me to address? So please do let me know, yes, your thoughts and your opinions, so we can then go forward. All right. Yes, so shall we start off with a quick recap of evolution? Yes. So do you have anything to ask me before this, and do you have any suggestions that you can put forward? If so, please do it. All right, so it is completely your choice, because you are the so I am doing the session for you, so whichever will be beneficial to you, so please go ahead. Okay, so when I say an open doubt session, I can do it unit wise. So tomorrow shall I have an open doubt session in genetics? Yes. So when I say genetics, it can be both molecular genetics, it can be both Mendelian genetics as well as evolution. Is that fine? Yes. So when I say it's an open doubt session, even I will get 10 important questions or 10 critical thinking questions from that unit, and we can discuss those as well. Fine. So Satyendra Kumar, hi, hello. So yesterday you didn't turn up. What happened? Are you fine? Yes, thank you so much for joining. So please do like, share and subscribe. Okay, so Anthony says any topic. Okay, so should I take genetics as a unit for doubt, open doubt, or should I take it only Mendelian genetics, or should I go just like a chapter wise in genetics? So how do you want me to have the open doubt session? So yes, if I say open doubt session, yes, I will get 10 questions from that topic, the critical thinking questions, as well as I will solve your doubts also. Okay, so should I go, okay, health problems, so please do take care. Okay, so get well soon. Okay, so let me know if it has to be only from Mendelian genetics or can it be from the entire unit of genetics, so that accordingly even I will prepare. So if I am picking questions, I'll pick up questions only from Mendelian genetics. So which do you think is tough? Mendelian genetics, molecular genetics, or your evolution? So which one do you want me to do? So do let me know, accordingly we'll decide. So now we'll talk about evolution. So it's a quick revision, so let's quickly finish it off. Alright, so evolutionary biology, so it basically talks about the study of life forms on earth, right? Yes. Entire unit, so Priyanka says the entire unit of genetics we'll have an open session. Alright, fine, okay. Okay, so which means you can ask me questions from the crosses, from molecular biology as well as from evolution. Yes, I am ready. Entire unit. Okay, so everyone is fine with the entire unit of genetics, and it will be an open doubt session. So we will only solve questions from these three topics. Alright, so tomorrow 7 to 8, so please stay tuned. Alright, so do bring in your friends who say genetics is tough. It is actually not. So the moment you get confidence in solving a problem, so you will understand the beauty of genetics. Alright, so everything is tough in the first step. So once you cross the first step, things are way easy, but make sure you take that first step. All right? Yes? Okay. So the study of life forms on earth, that is called as evolutionary biology. Okay, so what exactly is evolution? So when I say evolutionary biology, so biology is a study of life forms on earth. All right, fine. So evolutionary biology is the first which organism came into being. So that is called as evolutionary biology. Then how do you exactly define evolution for me? So changes in the flora and fauna that occurred over millions of years on earth is called as evolution. So the origin of life is the evolution of earth, of stars, of universe. So all that is what we're going to talk. So the story of origin of life and the evolution of life or biodiversities on planet earth is called as evolution. Alright, so this is what we are going to talk about today. Now we are going to talk about origin of life. How first life came into existence on earth, right? Yes? Okay, so question practicing is better. Yes, so you can ask me doubts in any concept in these three topics, and I will bring 10 critical questions from this unit. Okay, so we will solve tough questions because I've already solved enough questions in your Mendelian genetics as well as your molecular genetics. So I will bring tough questions or critical thinking questions from this chapter, and you can also put forward your questions, your doubts, etc. So I will solve it on board. All right? Yes? Okay, fine. So origin of life. So where did life come into picture for the first time? So Avinash, hi, hello. So thank you so much for joining my lecture today. Yes, the mentee that got postponed yesterday, that got cancelled, has been postponed today. So today at 6:30 we are having the mentee. So exactly in the same topic, digestion and absorption. So it is 15 questions, 20 seconds each for 30 minutes. All right? Okay. Yes, we have a quiz today, mentee quiz today in digestion and absorption. So please do join, and the questions are not straightforward, so please prepare accordingly. Okay? Okay, fine. So the origin of life on earth was a unique event in the history of earth. Okay? In the history of universe. So first initially the universe has to form, then you have the formation of the solar system, then you have your planets, and then earth comes, and then life on earth has to originate. So how does this huge things happen? So universe is a vast, and it is made up of a cluster of galaxies, right? Yes? Yes, yesterday the Mentimeter, the software had some problems, so it is because of the technical issues that we had to cancel it. So today we'll have it. Okay? Yes? So universe is vast, and it has a huge cluster of galaxies. So galaxies are a mass of your stars, clouds, dust, etc. So the Big Bang theory explains the origin of universe. So Big Bang theory is the physical terms of collision of two large masses. Alright? So it is a single huge explosion unimaginable in physical terms. So once the universe expanded, once the universe came into picture, then the temperature slowed down. So Praveen Kumar, hi, hello. So very happy good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining my session. Okay. So Praveen, you're new to my session. Yes, have I met you before? I guess I have met you in my mentee session. Yes. Thank you so much for remembering to join my lecture today. So first universe existed, first the universe was born. So once the universe was born, remember the temperature came down. Ma'am, are these important in terms of questions? Yes, sometimes they might ask you which of the following is incorrect, which of the following statement is correct, right? So in these cases they might put these sentences, alright, so you have to pay attention. So once the temperature came down, then the gases condensed under gravity and it formed galaxy. So first what came into picture? The universe. So then what happened? Once the universe was born by the process of your Big Bang theory, then the temperature came down. So once the temperature came down, then the gases condensed and which formed your galaxy. So now you have your universe, you have your galaxy. So once the galaxies were formed, so did the solar system. So then came the earth, yes? So remember it this way. So once your galaxies were formed, so galaxies are a mass of dust, cloud, gas, etc. So how did this form? So initially water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide, ammonia, they released from the molten mass covered from the surface of your galaxies. Okay, so initially in the early stage, so this is what we had. So what are they? Water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide and ammonia. Right, so these were the 4 components that was released from the molten surface. So UV rays, then slowly the UV rays from the sun, it broke water into hydrogen and oxygen. The lighter hydrogen later escaped. Okay, so this is how the story forms. So initially you had the universe. So by the process of the Big Bang collision or the Big Bang theory, so it had an unimaginable explosion, because of which the temperature came down and then the gases condensed to form your galaxy. Then after that you had your water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide and ammonia, which were released from the molten mass covered from the surface. Then the UV rays from the sun broke water into H plus and O2. So H plus was lighter, so it escaped. Alright. Then slowly the ozone was formed. Yes. So I am talking about how the atmosphere was first formed and then how life came into existence. So once the ozone was formed, it cooled the water vapor. So the water vapor cooled down and it fell as rain, because water vapor was released here, right? So we have water vapor somewhere. So this water vapor later cooled down and it fell down as rain, filling all the cavities and depressions. Alright, so this was the initial origin of Earth's story. So remember, it started from your universe, it went on to talk about your galaxies, and then from there we are talking about the components, how your UV rays broke down water, how ozone was formed, and how your water vapor cooled down and fell as rain. Okay, so this was the origin of your universe. Okay, now where did life come from? So if I am talking about your universe, galaxy, I can say these are to some extent abiotic components, right? Okay, so it rained, it filled the oceans, etc. So all those are abiotic components. By now we are done with ecosystems, so now we know. So these are to some extent abiotic components. But where did the first life come from? So always we ask, whether it was the chicken or the egg first. So similarly here, where did that first cell come into picture? So when I say living organism, yes, from the unit living word, we are pretty clear that cell is the superhero of all our life. So we are living just because we have the beautiful organization and architecture of your cell. But where did that first cell come from? So Virchow told us that a cell came from a pre-existing cell. So where did that pre-existing come from? That is our question of interest, right? Okay, so there were so many theories which said, okay, life came from this, life came from this. For example, if there is some chaos happening, okay, on the road, and if you ask one person, he might tell this happened. If you go to the other side and ask, they will say no, something else happened. So it is all the rumor, right? So you are having so many theories. So just like that, where did life originate? So we also have a lot of theories. First, did life come from outer space? So not directly inside Earth, so life came from outer space. So this was the first hypothesis people said. So some scientists believe that it came from outside world. That first pre-existing cell might have come from the outside world. So that is their notion. Okay. So early Greek thinkers think that units of life called spores was the one which came into being first. So this life which came from outside Earth, okay, the outside universe, you can, outer space, so they called it as spores. Spores were units of life which came from your outer space, and they were the first one. All right. Yes. Okay, egg or chicken, so no one actually knows. Fine. So panspermia is the name of this theory, and it's still a favorite idea for some type of astronomers. So you will remember where did life come from? So we are going to talk about various theories. So if you are making notes in a column, so on a side of the paper, write down theory number 1, first panspermia, and write spores. Okay, so this is what you should remember. The next theory, after a long time, it was also believed that life came out of decaying and dead matter like a straw, mud, etc. So this was the theory of spontaneous generation. So once again, write point number 2. So point number 1 was panspermia. Point number 2 will be spontaneous generation. So life came from dead and decaying organic matter like your mud and straw. That will be theory number 2, that is spontaneous generation. All right. Okay. So theory number 3, so Louis Pasteur by careful experimentation found out that life comes only from pre-existing life. So point number 3, life from pre-existing life. So this is how you make notes. So point number 1 will be panspermia, that is spores. Number 2, spontaneous generation. Then number 3, life comes only from pre-existing life. All right? Yes? So this was proved by Louis Pasteur. So how did he show this? So he had a pre-sterilized flask. When I say a pre-sterilized flask, it means it is free of microorganisms. So sterilized flask, anything that is sterilized keeps you safe from microorganisms. Alright, so we say no, a sterile needle. Yes, a sterile needle should be free of microorganisms. A sterile flask is free of microorganisms. So life did not come from killed yeast. So in a sterilized flask, if you put dead yeast, okay, so there is no new life forming. There is no new genesis of life. All right. So when the flask was left open to air, so new organisms rose from killed yeast. So when only killed yeast is there, life does not exist. Okay. But when killed yeast in contact with the air or the surface, and then you have life. So spontaneous theory, that is the previous one, was dismissed once and for all, which said life comes from dead or decaying matter. No, here when the yeast was killed and kept in a sterile flask, there was no growth of living organisms. Only when it was opened and put out to the environment, then you had the growth. So it was said that life comes from pre-existing life. However, this did not answer how the first life form came on earth. So he said, okay, life comes from pre-existing life, but where did that pre-existing life comes from, right? So that is the question. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a question of the chicken or the egg first, okay? So this is what he tried. So this is a sterilized flask which is sealed, okay? So the flask is covered tightly with no air contact, then you have no growth of organisms. But here, when the flask is left open, you have the growth of microorganisms. So life comes only from pre-existing life. So this is what Louis Pasteur proved. So 3 theories are over. Number 1, panspermia. 2, spontaneous generation. 3, life comes from pre-existing life. So then came 2 other scientists, Oparin and Haldane, from Russia and England. So these 2 said that first form of life could have come from pre-existing non-living organic molecule. So by the time these scientists were working, the question of interest was, where did that pre-living organism come? They understood that life comes from pre-existing organism. So where did that first pre-living organism come from? So they said that the first life form could have come from pre-existing non-living organic molecules like your RNA, protein, etc. So this was their theory. So life came from pre-existing non-living organic molecules. So point number 4, pre-existing non-living organic molecule. Alright, so formation of life was preceded by chemical evolution. So before your life existed, before your life came into picture, so what happened was your chemical evolution. So before the process of biological evolution, we had what is called as chemical evolution. So which is nothing but the formation of diverse organic molecules from the inorganic constituents. So before biological evolution happened, you had chemical evolution. So there you had the formation of diverse organic molecules from the inorganic constituents. Alright, yes. Okay, so this was later proved, okay. But still many people do not believe this. Yes, even I have heard this part of the story, but still a lot of people fail to agree on this note. But yes, it's good that you know this part of the story, okay. So the conditions on earth, okay, so the conditions on the earth that time were high temperature. So you had volcanic storms, you had reducing atmosphere containing your methane and ammonia, etc. So all these led to the formation of your non-living organic molecules, okay. So what this person did was Miller. So he did an experiment which had the same conditions as on earth, okay. So whatever conditions existed on earth, that is volcanic storms, reducing temperature containing methane, ammonia, he set up the same experiment in a lab and he mimicked the same condition, okay. So he created an electric discharge in a closed flask containing the gases that was present in your earth. So methane, hydrogen, ammonia and water vapor at 800 degree. He observed the formation of what are called as amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. So similar experiments, others observed the formation of sugars, nitrogen bases, pigments and fats. So this led to the conclusion that so these were the first molecules which led to the pre-existing living organism. Alright, so chemical evolution was more or less accepted. So we read about 4 points. So what are the 4 points? First was the theory of panspermia. So here I told you to remember your spores, right? So number 2, it was the theory of spontaneous generation. Then came Louis Pasteur's theory, which said life came from pre-existing life. Number 4, it was your Oparin and Haldane's chemical evolution. So this was not widely accepted, this was widely rejected, this was accepted and this supported this, okay, because this answered a different question, this answered a different question. So your Louis Pasteur's theory of life came from pre-existing life was accepted, as well as your chemical evolution was also accepted. Alright, yes, okay. So the first form of life arose slowly from the evolutionary forces from non-living molecules. So we accepted the chemical evolution, right? So what is chemical evolution? You had the formation of diverse organic molecules from inorganic constituents. So it was understood or it was accepted that, or it was believed that, so the first pre-existing cell came from these non-living molecules, okay, like your sugar, amino acids, nucleic acids, etc. So this was accepted by majority. However, once formed, how could it have evolved into complex life form? So that is the story of evolution. Okay, so first life came into picture from your inorganic molecules. which gave birth to diverse organic molecules. Okay, so the first life came into picture, but how did it evolve into complex multicellular organism? So then that was the question. That is what we are also going to talk about. So evolution of life forms is a theory. Okay, so people had different opinions on this. How did we evolve? So now we are done answering the question. So how life came into earth? So we are done answering that query. The next query is, okay, how did the life evolve? So do you have evidence? Do you have theories? Yes, we have. So we had three connotations. So connotations means opinions, okay? So opinions, so they said all living organisms we see today were created as such. So they say nothing evolved, okay? So initially there was goat, now you have giraffe. So everything was created as such. So God just threw them from the heavens. So that is what people believe. So that was one of their opinion. So now opinion number 2, the diversity was the same since creation and will be the same in future. So we know we have a very rich diversity of living organisms on earth, right? If you remember in the first unit in class 11, when we were talking about diversity in living world, for all the 4 chapters, we were amazed at how many living creatures we are coexisting with, right? So some people believed or some people opinionated that the diversity was the same since creation and will be the same in future. Okay, and some people said the earth is 4,000 years old. So these were some of the opinions of people. Then Charles Darwin, who is now known as the father of evolution, he then went on a voyage in his ship HMS Beagle. Okay, so he found out, or he concluded these points. Okay, so all existing, so these were the initial opinions, and he was a naturalist, he was a scientist. Okay, he concluded the following after his voyage in his ship. So what did he conclude? All existing life forms share a varying degree of similarity among themselves and among the lives that existed millions of years ago. So what does this statement say? So right now we are the living form. So we share some similarity with dogs, with elephants also, because all of us are in search of food. So all of us need breeding grounds. Yes. So we share varying degrees of similarity among themselves. So you and I also are similar in a lot of cases. You and monkey are similar. So we are all similar in some extent, and we are also having similarity with the organisms that existed millions of years ago. Of course, we might have some similarity with the dinosaurs as well, right? So if you have read the recent news, so I came across this. So a mammoth genome was sequenced, which nearly told us the secret behind the genome, behind the sequence of genomes 1,000 years before. That was really shocking. Okay, so we are still able to get fossil fuels of a mammoth which lived 1,000 years back. Okay, so that was the first conclusion that Charles Darwin gave. And extinctions of different life forms and new forms of life arose at different periods of history. So extinctions of different life forms happened. For example, dinosaurs became extinct, and if you see, you have new organisms coming into your book of records every day, every year, right? So this is also happening. So this was the most important conclusion among all the conclusions that Darwin gave us. So what was it? So fitness of an individual population talks about the reproductive fitness. If a group of organism is fit enough, so how do you say? It talks about the reproductive fitness. So if, for example, an organism is genetically affected, then its progeny will also be genetically affected. So you cannot say the progeny is healthy, right? So the fitness of a population or an individual talks about the reproductive fitness. So these are the 3 conclusions that Charles Darwin gave us. All right, yes. Yes, Vinu, hi, hello. So very happy good afternoon. So I guess these days you're busy with a lot of other things. Okay, fine, but still thank you for joining my session. So what happened to yesterday's mentee? Yesterday's mentee got cancelled due to technical issues. So today we have rescheduled the mentee. So today it's at 6:30 p.m. Same topic, same set of 15 questions, 20 seconds each, and the questions are pretty twisted. So I might change the questions because yesterday I don't know how many of you were able to see the questions or not. So please don't come in the same thinking that we have seen the first 2 questions, because I guess first 2 questions people started playing it. Alright, so let's see. So prepare well, all right? Yes, I guess first few questions people already saw it, so I will change the questions, so don't worry. Okay. So these were the three conclusions that Charles Darwin gave us. Fine. So the geological history of Earth closely correlates with the biological history of Earth. Alright. So this was also one conclusion that people drew out. Okay. Fine. So what are the evidences for evolution? So I told you evolution happens, so evolution is happening. So what do you think are the evidences that I have? So first one is the evidence from your fossil fuels. So the evidence from your fossil fuel is called as paleontological evidence. So you have layers of sediment forming over a rock, right? So each particular layer of sediment talks about the living organisms that existed in that particular era. Because to form a sediment layer, it takes millions of years. So which constitutes an era, right? So that is what is happening. So paleontological evidence are a very good source. So when I was talking to you about the mammoth which lived thousands of years ago, they found it out from the fossil fuel. So it was once again a paleontological evidence. All right. So Pooja, hi, hello, happy afternoon. Yes, thank you so much for joining my session. So please do like, share and subscribe. So are you new to my session? So have you attended my class before? Okay, so that is the first evidence that we're talking about. Yes, you're absolutely right. So how do you do fossil fuel? So you how do you study fossil fuel, or how do you recover information from a fossil fuel? You use carbon dating, and yes, uranium dating is also there. Okay, so the second evidence was your embryological support for evolution. So that was given by Ernst Haeckel. Okay, so he said that all the vertebrates in the embryonic stage, they had what is called as a gill slit, and slowly as we developed, the gill slit became disintegrated. So this was the support that he gave, but this was gradually ruled out because not all vertebrates at the embryonic stage had your gill slits. Fine. So point number 3, so we also spoke about comparative anatomy and morphology, which shows similarities and differences. Anatomy talks about the internal structure, morphology talks about the external appearance. So if you look at two organisms, if their morphology is similar, so we know, okay, so which came first. From here you had this, right? So you can see, so from lizard till cockroaches, you can see the evolution, right? It is understood, something like that. So these are paleontological evidence from your fossil fuels. Okay, so now we'll talk about the most important thing, that is your divergent evolution. So I am highlighting on the third point, that is comparative morphology and anatomical, which shows us similarities and differences. So divergent evolution. What is divergent evolution? So same structure developed in different directions, so that is called as divergent evolution. So you have one point and it has developed to different directions. So it is the same structure, but it has different functions. Okay, so this is called as divergent evolution. In normal English, divergent means which diverges from a single point of origin, right? The same is the here. So such organs which have the same structure but different functions in individuals are called as homologous organs, meaning they have a common ancestor. So certain organs originated from a common ancestor, but as they kept diversing, their functions also kept diversifying. Alright, if you see humans, dogs, birds, whales, all of us have this bones, right? So this is your humerus bone, this is your radius, ulna, carpus, metacarpus, phalanges. The same is here, but it's a bit modified, right? But all of them seems to have a common origin. So all of them have all the 5 colors, right? So you have your fingers, you have your carpus, metacarpus, radius, ulna. Yes, the structure is ultimately the same because they have originated from a common ancestor. So, but they have a different function. For example, we use hands for a lot of purpose. The same purpose, bird does not use the hands, right? So, the function is different, but the structure is same. This is called as divergent evolution. Okay, so they diverge from a single point. So, your thorns of bougainvillea and your tendrils of cucurbita, they have the same structure, okay, but the function is different. So thorn acts as a defense and tendrils support the plant so that it is easy for the plant to carry them. Okay, yes, Flippers of whales and penguins, yes, you're absolutely right. So this is called as your divergent evolution. So I want you to remember, here we're talking about homologous structure. Homologous, homo is same. Okay, so these structures are of the same origin. Fine? Yes. So the next one is your convergent evolution. So converging. Okay, so what do I mean by converging? This is diverging. So from all the points, when it meets at a single point in this direction, it is called as convergent. So you have different structures, but they perform the same function. The structures are anatomically different, okay, and morphologically different as well. Okay, you can say they are mainly anatomically different, but the function is the same. If you look at the wings of the butterfly and wings of the bird, so they are ultimately wings to our eyes, but the wings of the butterfly and the wings, so the wings of the butterfly and the wings of the birds. So when I say wings, what comes into your mind? Just flying, right? So wings have the same function, flying. But anatomically, when you look at the interior structure, the wings of a bird are different and wings of a butterfly are different, right? Yes? Similarly, penguin and dolphin both have flippers, okay? So they might look different. In penguin it is different, in dolphin it is different, but they have the same function. So such structures are called as analogous structures. The structure is different. Homologous, the structure is same. Analogous, the structure is different. Similarly, the eye of a human and eye of an octopus, the structure is same, but the function is different. Okay? Yes? Sorry, the structure is different. Analogous means the structure is different, but function is the same. When I say eye and eye, it helps in the process of vision, but the structure is quite different. Alright? Yes? Okay, so what supports natural selection? So what is natural selection? So during the time of pandemic, we were able to survive because we were immune enough and we were able to adapt to that situation, right? So a lot of people did not survive. So we had a lot of death, lot of loss during the time of pandemic. So a role of your natural selection also happens there, right? Yes. So what is the support for natural selection? So you would have seen this example, okay? Yes, so convergence is analogous, the structure is different, okay? Yes. So in case of convergent evolution, so you have your analogous structure, the structure is different but the function is same. In case of divergent evolution, you have homologous structure, the structure is same but the function is different. Alright? Okay, so this is the case of your industrial melanism. So you had two types of moths, okay? You had brown winged and you had white winged moths, fine? So initially, before there was no pollution, the bark of your tree was so clean enough that your white moth was camouflaging on the bark and your brown moth was brightly visible because of the contrasting background. So it was an easy prey for a lot of organisms, for a lot of predators. So the population of the brown winged moth went down. But after the process of industrialization, that is after the establishment of industries, so a lot of soot, smoke, etc. released into the air and you had dark deposition on your tree barks. So now the tree bark has turned dark. So now your white moth was more visible on a dark background and the brown moth was getting camouflaged. So now your white moth population went down. So now your process of natural selection supports a population which can survive in that particular condition. So this is the process of natural selection. Alright, yes? Fine. So now with this I will stop with all the concepts. So I have spoken about three important things. So I have spoken about the origin of life and the theory that is supporting and the process, the evidence that supports the process of evolution. Alright. So now based on these topics I have a set of questions. Let's see if you can solve. So question number 1. Similarity in organisms with different genotype indicates which type of evolution? Similarities in organism with different genotype. So genotype is the genetic makeup. So now give me the answer. Is it called as microevolution, macroevolution, convergent evolution or divergent evolution? So quick, make it quick. So divergent is homologous structure. Homologous means same structure. The structure is same. Here it is analogous structure. The structure is different. So now give me the answer. Answer is C. So Anthony Abhi says answer is C. Others, what are your answers? 1A. It is called as microevolution. So what is microevolution? Evolution in a small amount. So macroevolution is evolution to a large amount. So when I say similarities in organisms with different genotypes, it is your convergent evolution. Anthony was right. So when I say analogous structures, meaning the structures are different. So the protein that they coat will be different, but the morphology, but the function is the same. When I say the wings of butterfly and wings of the birds, so wings have the same function, but structure is different. So when the structure is different, the proteins that code for that structure is different. So genotype talks about the genetic makeup, right? So this is answer is your convergent evolution. Okay? No, it is not that macro is two different species. No, it is nothing like that. So here your answer is convergent evolution. Alright? Yes? Question number 2, industrial melanism is an example of which of the following? So defensive adaptation of skin against UV rays, drug resistance, darkening of skin due to smoke from industries, protective resemblance with surroundings. So Satyendra, did you understand how it is convergent evolution? So the structure here is different, right? So when the structure is different, the protein coding for that structure is different. So your genotype is different, okay? No, you can say macro and micro evolution is the rate of evolution is large and the rate of evolution is less in some cases. So now tell me here, what is the example you spoke about in industrial melanism? Yes, so what is the answer here? So Anthony says the option D. Okay, so Satyendra, what is your answer here? Come on, quick. So what is your answer here? So industrial melanism, so just now I explained, so we spoke about your brown winged moth and white winged moth, right? Yes, alright. So here it was the protective resemblance with the surrounding which makes them have the natural selection possible. Question number 3, convergent evolution is illustrated by. So we are talking about convergent evolution. So convergent evolution means you have analogous structures, but same functions, right? Yes. So here which is the answer? Yes. So dogfish, whale, rat, dog, bacterium, protozoan, starfish and cuttlefish. So for your kind information, cuttlefish is not a fish, it comes under your insect category. Okay, so now tell me which has analogous structures but same function. Come on, Anthony Abhi, what is the answer here? Quick. Yes, so read the question again, read the options again and then tell me what is the answer. So here the answer will be, come on, give me the answer. Here the answer will be A. Dogfish is a cartilaginous fish. And whale is a mammal. If you remember our animal kingdom topic, right? But what is their habitat? Both live in water, so both have streamlined bodies. Yes, the function of the streamlined body is the same, but the structure is different. So here your answer is dogfish and whale. Alright, yes Anthony, you're right. So the option is A. Fine. So Satyendra, did you understand how it is A here? Okay, so I'm going forward. So question number 4. Which of the following are homologous organs? So homologous, so homo means same. So homologous organs, so which of the following are examples of homologous organs? Wings of birds and locust. So locust is your grasshopper. So wings of birds like sparrow and pectoral fins of fish. C, wings of bat and butterfly, legs of frog and cockroach. Okay. So which one here is the right option? So please take a minute, understand the question, comprehend the options and then tell me the answer. So which one? So which is having the same structure but different function. So homologous means same structure but you have different function. So this is called as divergent evolution. So which is the answer here? Quick. So quick. So here it would be wings of birds like sparrow and pectoral fins of fish. So they have the same structure. Okay. So if you remember, so pectoral fins and wings of a bird, right? So here it is option A. No Krishna, it is not option D, it is option A. Oh my God. It is not option D, it is option B. Okay? Because the wings of a bird and the pectoral fins have the same type of homologous structure. Okay? Yes, Antonia B, you're right. Okay, Satyendra also says B. Good. So the last question for the evening. So which of the following describes correctly the homologous structure? So which says correctly that this is the homologous structure? Which is the proper description? Organs that appear in the embryonic stage and disappear later in adult, is that a homologous organ? Or organs with anatomical similarities but different function? Or organs which are anatomically dissimilar and have the same function? Or organs having no function now but had functions only in ancestors, meaning is it a vestigial organ? So which of the following correctly describes homologous organs? So come on, homologous means same. So homologous organs means same structure. So which explains that correctly? Yes, you are absolutely right. So it is option B. Organs are anatomically similar. Structure wise they have similarity but function wise they are different. Alright. So this is just an introduction of the questions that can come from this topic. So I will stop right here. Okay. Yes, Anthony, you are absolutely right. So the chapter, the revision is to be continued. So I'll come back with more set of questions and I'll tell you how to approach them. Alright, so this chapter will be continued on Monday. So meanwhile, tomorrow we'll be talking about your body fluids and circulation. So I will complete your cardiac cycle and I will also bring some questions for your cardiac cycle. Alright, yes, you guys are right. The option is B. Okay, so if you genuinely understood, the next class is on Monday at 3 p.m. Okay, so if you genuinely understood what I taught, so please do like, share and subscribe. And do join for my mentee today at 6:30 p.m. It is in digestion and absorption. Alright, yes. So shall I say bye-bye for now and get back to you at 6:30? So please do join for my mentee. So take care. Bye-bye.